It's not the first time. We've had people saying that. Some what leaders saying that, and now he has come to say that again.
Yes, you're quite right. Once again, a good morning to all our viewers and welcome to Star Radio UK, the morning show where we give you all the news and what is happening back in Nigeria and also what is happening to Nigerians outside and also so many people that still now believe that self-determination to opt out of Nigeria is the best way moving forward. Oh, yes. The news about Castina is not the new news, just as so many other news around the country when it comes to the insecurity that have actually, created a lot of havoc. Let us remember that yesterday we told our listeners that, tomorrow the President Muhammadu Buhari will be meeting up with some of his security chiefs so that he can be briefed on some of the, the development when it comes to so many issues surrounding insecurity in the country. But all I can say is, if you remember that so many people have requested that, should we continue where the government is not really, doing the best when it comes to taking care of the insecurity in the country, and what should we do? I mean, we've had some of the ministers of the presidents, talked about also the arming yourself or defending yourself. So the news that you've just read out in terms of the Castina state is not a new news. It's just adding to what a lot of us have talked about when we come to the security lapses in the country. Defend yourself. Prayer, pray, buy guns to defend yourself. Masari, the Castina state governor is telling the citizen, according to the governor that made this call on Tuesday, where he paid a condolence visit to families of 10 persons killed by a vehicle belonging to the Nigerian custom. Again, it's not just the lapses of the insecurity. You can see also that this has got to do with the Nigerian custom, where a vehicle that belongs to them killed 10 innocent Nigerians. It did talked about we must intensify prayers with clean mind to seek God forgiveness and intervention, but we must all rise up to counter the insecurity challenge, and we must not sit and watch some people buying guns, attacking our houses. We should buy the guns and protect ourselves as well. It's also in line with what the governor of Benue State, Governor Autumn, have talked about. Maybe you want me to come in and out again. Maybe that will resolve the problem.
Yes, listeners, just bear with us. We'll let Mr. Guy call us back whilst we try to see whether we can resolve whatever is going on because we can still not see him. But whilst it thank you for giving us that information. It helped a great deal. The sound, I hope that the sound is okay now. And to Pastor Emmanuel Chibi, thank you very much. Yes, I see that now. I can see Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Yes, yes. So now let's go back to the update. So, if citizens now go on to acquire guns, as he said, like let's say in Sunday Go's house where he was let me put it attacked, okay, by the national security, and then they say, we found some arms, a search of arms, and when we talk about that, they're talking about six or something, and they don't find anything of that sort there.
Well, I mean, we tend to remember that the Nigerian federal government comes with all kind of lies. I mean, yes, they did attack, Chief Sunday Igboho's house on the 1st of July 2021 at 1:30 a.m. without a search warrant. It took the federal government up to 10 hours to come out, to clear the airways, what took place at the early hours of the morning. Two innocent Yorubas were killed. Two innocent Yoruba were killed. The body has been taken away. Likewise, cats were killed. Some cats were taken away as well. But the question you've asked is, if I mean, as at the time the federal government said they pumped into the house, and the reason for that is, they had intelligence of stockpiling of weapons. I mean, Chief Sunday Bowo has denied that there's nothing of such in his house, and those weapons that the DSS were displaying to members of the public were something that was brought out from their own armories. I mean, Nigerian security are used to creating this kind of lies against so many Nigerians. Whether it is Chief Sunday Igboho or whether it is just an average Nigerians that so many times we've seen them coming up with this kind of accusation. Let's take you back to one of the reasons why Nnamdi Kanu fled as at the time of the invasion of his house. More than 28 people were killed. A dog were killed as well as at the time. And again, most of those accusations was they have intelligence that they were stockpiling weapons and arms. But you have the bandits, as the federal government wants to allow the media in Nigeria to call them, even though we know that these are full-blown terrorists that now have capacity to RPG, and we can tell that on the 20th of July, a Nigerian military aircraft was brought down by the same terrorists that the government refused to go after, rather going after innocent Nigerians. And I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK, so like Koiki, for you, the call by the Katsina governor saying that, well, you have to pray, and when you finish praying, go buy arms and then defend yourself, because they think that the bandits are taking people for a fool, because they think that, oh, because you are weak, so they can run you over. But well, what do you think about that? Weak, so they can run you over. But well, what do you think about that? Good morning to Sajid. Well, it is already UK. Now the other story is making around, so let's go straight back to Solani Koiki and let's hear what is happening there. Over to you, John.
Well, quite a lot is happening, when it comes to the news coming out of Nigeria. As we know, Nigeria has so many news that we can talk about on a daily basis. But let's talk about some of the news that is coming out today, the 18th of August 2021. It's 17 minutes past. Again, if you're sending money home to your loved ones, remember to use SendWave and remember to use the code STAR, S for Star, Radio, and R for Radio as well. I can confirm that a new judge might have to be assigned to the release warrant of the 12 detainees of Chief Sunday Igboho's that were taken from his house, just as we were discussing. Let's take you back again to a bit of brief of that. We do know that on the 1st of July, after the assassination attempt on the life of Chief Sunday Igboho, and those that were also living, working with him, and those that were also paying a courtesy visit to him as at the time, 2 innocent Yorubas were killed. The bodies have not been returned back. But that took us to 50 days as of today that they're still in the hands of the DSS. Yes, we do know that, Justice Obiara, Justice Obiara Ogwawatu, that also, looking into this court case, requested the DSS to bring them to the court. After a couple of days and weeks, eventually the 12 were brought to the court. Bail condition was given after the barrister or the lawyer Pelumi Olajengbese approached the court to allow them to be released on bail. It has given a little bit of tough time with the federal government and the system in terms of the putting this bail condition. And after the bill has been put together, we can now also confirm that Justice Obiara has traveled out as well, according to what we know. Let's go straight into a little bit of it. It was gathered that the detainees, according to the lawyer Pelumi Olajengbese, approached the bail office of the court yesterday to assign another judge to sign the release warrant of his client who have been detained in the custody of the Department of State Service for the last 50 days. Olajengbese said the bail office of the court earlier informed him on Tuesday yesterday that the presiding judge of the case, Justice Obiora Ogwawatu, have traveled out of the country. We go straight to other headline, and then we start looking into them, one at a time as well. Once again, if you just join us, you're listening to Star Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I was looking at some headline this morning before coming as well. River House of Assembly have now passed the anti-open grace bill into law. Remember that we have less than September the 2nd, which is just some few weeks down the line, when we will be finding out whether all the other state governors from the south will be going through that same process when it comes to the ban on the open grazing. Also, coming up this morning, Nigeria missing as UAE approved 70 countries for visa on arrival. Nigeria has been excluded from a list of countries whose citizens are eligible to apply for visa on arrival in UAE. We do know that there are quite a lot of Nigerians that are working there. There's a lot of Nigerians that have interest when it comes to UAE, but it seems it's getting a little bit more difficult when it comes to your visa now because Nigeria has now missed out arrival visa at the UAE. Dangote calls for power sector revolution. That is also one of the headlines coming this morning. Buhari regime to help reform Sierra Leone police, according to the minister. It's quite interesting to know that Nigeria is trying to play a big brother by going to Sierra Leone and help them to reform the police, according to their minister. But it would be nice to see how reform the Nigerian police in Nigeria is working when it comes to so many atrocity and so many injustice. And as we can always remember, October 20 will be exactly a year when so many young, innocent Nigerians were protesting for their right, and those right was the brutality of what we call the SARS, and eventually we saw what took place when the Nigerian military opened fire. About 98 Nigerians were killed. The Lagos State governor came out to denounce that no one was killed. After so many inquiries, dead bodies are still floating under the water, and dead bodies has not still been given back to the loved ones of those that were killed. We're talking about young Nigerians that were only protesting for their right because of police brutality. We also can tell that as at the time this inquiry was going on across the globe, we find out that the UK government was also part of those that were supporting in terms of paying for police back in Nigeria, whether supplying equipment or training, and that created a lot of conversation between some of the members of parliament. Just as we're watching right now, the situation ongoing at the House of Parliament when we're discussing, the situation in Afghanistan. Cyber attacks on Nigerian financial institutions increasing, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria has released a framework to protect other financial institutions against rising cyber attack in the country. We talked about yesterday, the NINAS. I'll be discussing that, during the second segment of this broadcast. But for now, let's take one more and then we'll come back again to you in the studio. It's exactly 11:23. As we always say, Wednesday is not a very busy time. But this evening at exactly 1800 hours, I'll be discussing, should we opt for 2023 or should we decide now that the 1999 Constitution does not guarantee that election? That will be the topic. Gombe legislator passes vote of confidence in Governor Yaya, according to the headline. Buhari regime to declare Old People's Day. Quite interesting that so many old people, and not just old, they've worked tirelessly so much before this government and after this government, but we know that some of their pension have never been paid. But it seems that we will now have what they call a special day for our old people in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari regime says it would soon declare a special day for the old people in the country. Specifically, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management and Social Development, Saida Farouk, that was distributing cash in an open hand to so many Nigerians during the COVID, but those money were only distributed to certain part of the country, not to every other part, because the government believed that some other part had families outside the country that could take care of them. I want to commend Omokaro for the pace at which he's setting down to work, hoping that with the assembly of the management team at our disposal, we will soon declare a national day for our senior citizens. Star Radio UK, I'll come back slightly back to you in the studio.
Well, and that's not there for our senior citizens, an interesting one there. We'll be talking about that in a moment, but let me acknowledge Musbau Oluwatoyin Alade. He says Nigeria is a useless country. We don't have a freedom. We don't have freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and so on. Okay. But more I don't know whether you say the communication is breaking, the conversation is breaking, whether from here, but our sound seems to be okay. So it might be your coverage area where you are that might be causing a problem. And then she too Amidu. It says Oloron Yoba Fungwa O Amino. So I think I've spoken some a bit of Yoruba there. Yomi can translate that to you. God will help you.
Ọlọ́run yóò gbà fún wa. The God Almighty will get us through. Amen.
Oh wow, wow, amen, amen, amen. All right then. Now let's come to the issue pertaining to this 12 disobedience. Now, a new judge that you're talking about there. Now, how possible it is because we know that I think there's a judicial holiday or something of the sort.
Yes. Well, I mean, you got to remember, even as much as there was that holiday in place, we still have, few cases running through as we speak right now. It might not be a full operational, but again, as much as whether that opportunity or that kind of availability is there, that you can approach a new judge to sign off a bail release condition so that these 12 innocent can be coming back home as quickly as possible in the hands of the DSS.
But how sure or how confident are you when it comes to as whether because they say they met all their bail conditions? How confident are you that it will be released?
Well, that is a big question. I mean, as the sitting judge put a kind of mark on it that I would have to do the bail release of these innocent, 12 in the hands of the DSS, or is this something that we can allow another judge to look into that and allow it to come through as quickly as possible, so that those that have been there for 50 days can have a breathing space. Again, we will find out either before the Niger voices, or if otherwise, I'll be reporting that back to our listeners tomorrow.
Okay, interesting. We'll be following that very closely. Now let's come to the anti-opium raising, where the bill has been passed. Is it across River State
Yes.
area? Now the question is, are there any from the top of your head, if you know, are there any headsmen around the place at the moment?
Well, the herdsmen all over the place. I mean, you've got to remember, they move in a quite a long distance, from the north coming down. I mean, you got to have to pass through some of the southeast area before you can even get to the southwest. But again, what would happen, in terms of this ban taking its effect, mostly from most of the states, as we know, after the southern governors that would also be meeting, as I'm aware, sometime later on today, for so many other reasons, in terms of the situation back home. But whether, now that the River State is putting this to test, and whether this would be, something that will be abide by the Mayati Allah that has most of their, cattle rearers moving, these, cows from one side to the other for so many reasons, according to them, whether for pastoral reason, for the weather in the north. But again, a lot of Nigerians believe that this is a private business, and a private business must be done according to the law of the state, which is probably what is going to happen when the law comes into effect.
Okay. What has the Miati Allah said so far pertaining to this bill being passed in the River State?
Well, I mean, the Mayati Allah, most of the time, disagree, with these, open band grazing. They wanted a Ruga. The federal government wanted a Ruga. That has not successfully come true. And again, most of the Mayati Allah believe that, they are being purposely targeted, in as much as, the southern governors disagree with that. So we will have to see how that is going to play out. And I'm sure, so many Nigerians will want to know whether, the governors control the state in terms of the law that will be passed on, or that law will be disobeyed by these, cattle herders that will be moving, in and out of the state without the proper channel of how they want to have their business operating in that state.
Okay, let's hop on straight to this celebrating of old people in Nigeria. And then you were talking about the minister who went around during the COVID, the lockdown, distributing money. And the issue that was raised was that, it was distributed to some particular communities, and other communities didn't benefit from it because they are correlating outside the country.
Well, yeah, you're quite right. You've got to remember. Okay, I'm just someone just saying here. Akpomo in your state, Nigeria has now become a village of terror. Over 7 people dead yesterday due to Fulani herdsmen. And you can see, these are, the kind of news. And the person is even telling us, we can get the live coverage of that on one of the mainstream media in Nigeria. And I guess again, this is kind of this, the news that comes out of Nigeria when it comes to attack, which is sometimes most of the elders that hide behind this atrocity. But the question you asked about the senior citizen, I mean, we have them across the world. Let's use UK as an example. By the time you're coming up to 65, you will start getting some kind of benefit, whether you have put in your effort during your work time as your own little input that will become your pension. Or for whatever reason, whether for health reason, you are unable to complete those pension and the government will then kick in. It's not just that alone. I mean, if you're also in London, you get a free bus pass that moves you from one end to the other. Healthcare is a bigger challenge to people that are getting to that age bracket of 60. You need a good healthcare system to keep you alive and floating. But when you look at our parents, our loved ones, whether in the southeast, in the southwest, and in the north, you realize that by the time they get to those age bracket, they become witches and wizards, according to those at home. I mean, you talk about the government, declaring one day. Is it the declaring that matters, or those that, as we speak right now, have not received their pension for whatever reason, because some of the state does not even have the money, and the ones that have the money, it has been stolen away from the government coffer.
Listen, as it is story, what do you think about that? You think that maybe celebrating the one day is enough? Because if the person cannot get medical attention that they need, if the person cannot get money to buy food for themselves to feed and live, or a good living condition, do you think celebrating them that brings about any difference? I want you to put your take on that. How about you agree with again? It says Nigeria is a failed state, referendum now, not war. Would the authorities agree to that? That is another question. But at this juncture, let's go straight to tonight, but it's 11:32 for some of the other stories making the rounds. Over to you.
Well, yesterday we talked about the Ninas, and I'm just going to go straight into it. But I'll be discussing it fully later on Niger Voices. Let me just say, it was a press release yesterday, and we won't be able to go through the whole lot. But according to what we have here, which is a brief, Nina's call to action. Number one, knowledge is power. The first task before us, or in the period commencing August 18, which is today, is to help spread this information as well as other related information on the constitutional force majeure amongst the peoples of the Ninas Alliance territory, wherever they are on the face of the earth. Number two, Ninas direct the regional blocs to advance the processing and ratification of their regional constitution and chapters in readiness for UN-backed regional self-determination, stay or leave referendums on the distressed federation of the country of Nigeria. Number three, Ninas request you to help intensify the signing of the ongoing Ninas referendum petition by which Ninas December 16, 2020 Constitutional Force Majeure proclamation is addressed to the United Nations Security Council and also support and where possible partake in the march at the UN General Assembly, which is coming up next month. And also, in this period, following August 18, 2021, led the campaign to persuade the political parties to close shop forthwith for reasons outlined henceforth. This will bring us to a domino 2 and transitional threshold participating the referendum, we say. And the last one, with the defeat of the 1999 Constitution and in the spirit of the transitional prescribed in the December 16, 2020, Nina's Constitutional Force Majeure proclamation, all governments in the alliance territories are invited to brace up, take up charge of responsibility for the safety and economic welfare of their people, making appropriate legislation and regulation to step into the roles previously denied them or prohibited by the fraudulent and now disputed 1999 Constitution. For those that might not understand all that, you might want to join me later on at Niger Voices, where we're going to be discussing fully about this press release that was signed by Professor Stephen Banji Akintoye, the chairman of NINAS yesterday. NINAS is the alliance bloc requesting a total self-determination using the referendum, and also putting that constitution that has now gone into a dispute since December 16 last year. So the 120 days expired yesterday, and that was the release of that as well. We're going to go straight to what is trending on Twitter, and then I will start saying a very good morning to you because we still have to follow some of the other headlines and news around the world. This morning, I could see that BB Niger is trending. Also Afghanistan seems to be trending, and likewise, Timini is trending. I guess is one of these celebrity when it comes to romance relationship. Sometimes it could go a little bit sour, or it could go a little bit better. But I'm just gonna go straight and look at Timini. I followed that story this morning as well, just because if okay, to find out what is actually reason why it's trending. But all I can tell you is, according to Uncle Oluolu Inuilu London says, Omotola Jolade got married at the age of 18. Amara Kelly got married at the age of 18 to her husband. Regina Daniels got married at the age of 19. But a 19-year-old adult was naive going into a relationship with another adult. Sometimes some of you need to open your brains to the air condition to cool it down. Let's take one more. I mean, he has actually also released a statement. This particular individual that is, behind this tweet that is trending this morning. I'll see if I can get what his statement was. I saw that statement myself, but again, what he has to say is, I don't normally address things as I have dealt with accusation my entire career, but after discussion with my team, I have decided to speak up on this issue. What is the issue? Firstly, I'd like to make it clear beyond my edit out that I do not condone having relationship or counting anyone under the age of consent. Rumors are rumors, but baseless accusation of sexual abuse or grooming of underage women is something I don't take lightly given the severity of the issue. Secondly, let's be clear. I am a single adult man who has dated women of different ages, all of whom were older than the legal consented age. Lydia and I dated for 2 years. We were both consented adults at the time, and our families knew about it and approved of each other, but our relationship didn't work out due to circumstances. We were both at fault for which resulted. And as you can see, when it comes to relationship saga, it could be sweet, it could be sour, it could be good, it could be bad, and sometimes it could be ugly. Star Radio UK, I'll come back now to you in the studio.
How do you see relationship? Whether good or bad, how do you find yourself, or where do you find yourself? Yeah, we bring you everything that you need to know. Let me say good morning to Atinuke Yusuf. Says thank God for you. We also thank God for you as well for listening to us as well. It is time for the UK. We'll be running up pretty soon because I'm so likely Koiki has to go, and then we'll have to go to some of the other updates, and then we'll go to the House of Parliament to continue with the deliberation that is going on, especially sitting that is going on at the moment. Okay, so definitely before you go.
Well, one thing is tonight it's going to be very beautiful on Niger Voices 2023 election. Can the Ninas bringing down this constitution determine that we will not hold election? Or do you believe that election will go ahead with or without this Ninas constitutional force majeure? So it's all about the constitutional force majeure versus 2023. That is what's going to be discussion of this evening. Tune in at exactly 6 p.m. Nigerian time with myself on Star Radio UK.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch up later. Bye-bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay, listeners, it is time when you okay. Whatever.
All right, I've got to go now. Thanks very much, those of you that have watched on Instagram, those of you on YouTube, those of you on the preferred platforms. I'll be back later on, maybe at 6 p.m. But for now, thank you very much for staying tuned. And remember, Nigeria is a crime scene that will never work. From what I know, Lai Mohammed has arrived in America thinking that he can hide. But they can only hide, but they cannot run away from us. So I'm sure some of you understand what I mean by that. I mean, as much as these individuals keep running away, they're probably trying to bring Twitter back, and I'm sure you know the reason why they want to bring Twitter back, so that people will think that they are going to use Twitter for their campaign in 2023. Bye for now, and have a very, very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're watching me. Bye for now. My name is Olami Koiki, known as Koiki Media. Yes, they don't mind Nigerian police going to Sierra Leone to go and train Nigerian Sierra Leone police. Yeah, yeah, people. Wọ́n ti train àwọn tó wà nílé tán. No, wọ́n ti train àwọn tó wà nílé, wọ́n fẹ́ lọ train àwọn tó wà ní Sierra Leone. They're all jokers. Messed up country. Country that is already messed up.